Okay, so every minute of the day, we are in one of three zones based on our stress level. So sometimes we're in the gray zone, meaning we are doing routine work, we are feeling bored, we are distracted, we are tired. And this is classified as being disengaged. Or we're in the red zone, especially when we are highly stressed. Typical feelings include anxiety, frustration, being alarmed or afraid. Or sometimes we're in the green zone. And the green zone, we are at our best and we're able to regulate our emotions because we are present, relaxed, alert, or excited. When our stress is too low, we're in the green zone. If our stress is too high, we're in the red zone and our performance is low. When we are focused, alert, or relaxed, that's the green zone, we can do our best. Typically, when we're in the green zone and we are calm, we are able to think at our best, we are creative and analytical, and our IQ is the highest. When we are in the red zone, we are thinking with our primitive brain, so we are less productive than we should be. When our emotions are in the red zone, we are thinking with our primitive brain. We are anxious, we are frustrated, we are alarmed and afraid. It lowers our IQ. It makes it difficult for us to work well with others. So take a minute to notice where you're at this morning. Are you in the gray zone? Are you feeling disengaged? Are you in the red zone or highly stressed? If you're in any of the two zones, try to bring yourself back to the green zone. And how can you do that? Some of the things you can do is just take a deep breath in and then hold and then breathe out. Then take another deep breath in and hold and then breathe out. Or you can think about something that makes you happy. When was the last time you really laughed? Think about a joke if you like to joke, if your humor brings life to you. Think about the joke or a happy moment in your life. If you're able to get a cup of tea, get a cup of coffee, try to bring yourself back in a relaxed zone as we transition into this webinar. Hopefully that was a good exercise for you. You can do it at any time of the day, anywhere you are, just paying attention to your state of mind, noticing if you're disengaged or you're highly stressed, and then do something to bring yourself back in the green zone, bring yourself back to being relaxed, present, excited, so that you're at your best at any one time in the day. So these are emotional regulation tools which each of us can use at any time of the day. That means being aware about your emotions and always trying to bring yourself back into the green zone. So hopefully we've all done some exercise, and with that, I'm going to stop sharing my screen. And I am going to share the presentation that we're going to have today, which is on managing stress. And I do hope you can all see my screen.
Yes, we see if you can put it on presenter mode. Thanks.
Okay. So Patricia, we're ready for you whenever you are.
Thank you so much, Sandra, and it's a pleasure for me to be part of this webinar this morning. Sorry, a privilege for me to speak about things I'm very passionate about. I love mental health so much, and I'm an advocate of mental health. That's what I call myself of late, and I advocate mental health. As you've seen, I'm a lawyer by profession, by training, I think, because by profession, I'm not practicing law, but I teach it for the last 13 years. But also out of passion, I went in and did a master's in counseling psychology, and I'm now in the phase of thinking of doing a PhD. I don't know how that will materialize, but that's what I am doing right now. I'm a member of the Uganda Counseling Association. where we do a bit of continuous trainings and many other things around that. So Sandra requested me that as we celebrate or as we commemorate the Mental Health Month, I should talk about managing and coping with stress in our professional and personal life. What does it mean and how we go about it? So that's what I'm going to be talking about. Sandra, my slides. Okay. I start with things to think about, and I say it feels like you cannot do anything about stress. And sometimes when stress comes in, that's what comes to your mind, that you cannot do anything about it. And we say we might, but we say we can manage. We can manage, because stress will definitely set in. But how to manage it is a very important thing. So you know that stress is unavoidable. You are going to be stressed, if not today, tomorrow, and it might be a short time or a long time. Like I'm going to be taking us through. And this stress can be in terms of work, or it could be family. It could be family issues, basically. It could be health-wise, that you're having challenges with your health, and as a result, you're stressed. Or it could be relationship challenges. And you know, relationship challenges does not matter. It could be you at an older age, it could be at a younger age, whatever it is. But I want to encourage us this morning, because I'm a believer of the word. The Bible tells us in the book of John 16:33 that in this world, that was what Jesus was telling us, in this world you'll have trouble, but take heart, I have overcome the world. And that is really giving us courage and telling us that you will have, it's not you may, you will have. So which shows that it's bound to happen, that you'll have trouble in this world, but take heart, he overcame, you will overcome. And again, in the book of Matthew 11:28, there's a way I like it. What we get an invitation from the Lord, where He tells us, "Come to me who are weary and heavy laden, and I'll give you rest." And for me, it's such something that is very, 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 very interesting. That we have an open invitation, and Christ is calling us and telling us to come to Him who are heavy burden or heavy laden. And what happens is that when you're stressed, you feel overwhelmed, you feel like there is nothing you're going to do. So stress, I will have to tell us this at the start, that stress is okay, but too much of it causes havoc, and this will affect our emotional, psychological, and social aspects. It will challenge us. I'll be explaining when I talk about emotional, what am I talking about that stress is challenging, it's affecting us. When I talk about physical, when I talk about social, what do I mean by that? So stress will affect how you think. It will affect how you function, your enjoyment of life. And there is bad and good stress. They're two different things. So stress sometimes can be good, but also sometimes can be bad. I've had people who tell me they function so well when they're under stress, that if they're not stressed, then they don't function so well. But when under stress, they function so well. So I will also later on differentiate between acute stress and chronic stress. Acute stress is very okay, because it can last for a few days and it goes away. It can be for a few hours, or it can be for a moment, but it goes away. That is okay. But the dangerous stress that I'll be talking about is the chronic stress. Chronic stress is very, very bad, and this is very dangerous. And once you have chronic stress, then that's when you really need to reach out and get help. When it is becoming too much, it's now chronic, it has lasted for months, and I'll talk about the signs that really to show that you're really under a lot of stress. Okay. Another slide. Okay. So when we talk about the aspect of what stress is, I'll explain what is stress. When you talk about stress, what am I talking about? When you talk about stress, stress is a normal biological and physical response to the events that threaten your body or your mind. And when you're stressed and all that, people I request people to mute their microphones, because I'm getting a lot of background noise. Maybe
let me do that.
Okay, thank you so much. So stress is a normal or biological and physiological response to the events that threaten your body or what. So stress threatens you. It makes your body to enter into either a fight or flight mode, and someone has to enter into a survival mode. So stress will make you to prepare to tackle the issue. that you're facing, if it's an on, and you need to find ways of how to address it. So it's normal. You can have the stress, but what the problem would be when it has become a chronic stress. That's where the problem comes in. So when this stress, the body releases appropriate hormones to tackle the stress. That's how we are wired. The body will release the hormones to see how to tackle the stress, and you'll see how to cope with this. But when it becomes too much, sorry,
Patricia, I'm going to mute everybody, and then you can unmute yourself.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just Patricia will unmute herself. Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much. So when it's too much, it becomes chronic, and that's where it is. But stress, basically, when people keep saying I'm stressed, and they're like wondering what are they talking about? They're talking about how they're feeling their body has gone into that threatening danger because of these issues that the issues that they have to tackle. They enter into a fight and flight mode. They just need to survive, and they are very stressed in a way. They feel, the body cannot handle it. But when it becomes chronic, it becomes very serious, and that's where we need to really address it. Next slide. Okay. Is that the first one? Okay, yes. Now, let me first address the issue of acute stress. Now, when you talk about acute stress, this lasts for only a short period of time, say a few days, a few hours. It is something that is it could be maybe you're having an exam and you're stressed. It's for that time and then you'll be fine. Or it could be you have a job interview and you're stressed, and it's for that time and you to go. Or it could be that you're stressed, your child is unwell, and when the child gets treatment and they're better, you're well. So it's okay. So that is, it is for a short time. This can be due to an exam period, interview, or short illness like the one I've been talking about, or it could be because of the tight deadlines that you have either at work, if you have a tight deadline that you have to finish up this report, or if it's a student, you're under a tight deadline, you need to hand in your coursework, you need to do a lot of things. Or it could be that you're stuck in jam and you're agitated, you're feeling stressed, or it could be during the period for people, for the other side, when it's bad, that people have been fighting, even they've been quarreling with their spouse or a partner and all that. It is okay if it's for a short time. But if it's too much and it has lasted for so long, I'm meaning a month plus, then it has become chronic stress. And here with this acute stress, the body can easily manage acute stress and bounce back. If it's a period of interview, you're stressed that you have to do this interview. Once the interview is done, you bounce back, you're fine. If it's a period of exam, once that exam period has ended, you're able to bounce back and you're fine. So that is okay. The acute stress is fine. And I'll say it's okay. Some people tell you they will operate so well when they're under stress. But then let's go to chronic stress. Now, chronic stress, it's prolonged stress. And this affects your body. It is the stress that has lasted for a weeks plus, or months, or what. And with this chronic stress, the body enters into constant feelings, or the person will feel constantly feelings of being overwhelmed or feeling pressure for a long period of time. So it's not something that will go for a short time, but it's prolonged. It is for weeks, it's for months, and someone is constantly having these feelings, being overwhelmed. You feel you're under a lot of pressure and all that. So chronic stress slowly drains a person's psychological resources, and it will damage their brains, their bodies. Psychologically, someone will feel so finished, so drained, like there is nothing in them. And that is where you find that like I'll be discussing later on, that is, you identify what is it that is causing you to feel this way. Okay, so people who suffer from chronic stress often describe it as being stuck. You ask them, how are you feeling? I'm stuck. And this stuck is not for just a few days. It's stuck for months. It's stuck for weeks. They're stuck in a specific can I say period? So they feel stuck, and that's what they say. But if this chronic stress is not treated, it will lead to other diseases. Stress is very bad, and if it is not treated, it leads to other diagnoses. Other things are going to emerge from this stress. So if it's not treated, It can lead to diseases such as hypertension, where someone is hypertensive, or it can lead to high or low blood pressure. Sometimes even it can lead to type 2 diabetes, where the levels of sugar, glucose in the blood is high, or it can lead because it is just stress that has led to all this. And that's why we need to find ways of how to manage this stress so that it does not affect our health later on. Another slide. How do people respond when stressed? There are people respond in a very, very interesting way. And I will use the analogy of a driving that is used by one psychologist, Connie. Connie says that when someone is stressed, there are 3 ways of how it is used. One, foot on the gas. Foot of the gas is sort of like accelerating. You're on the accelerator. Your foot is on the accelerator if you're using a driving analogy. Here, the person feels angry, is agitated, or fight, or they enter into a flight stress response. You are heated, you're geared up, you're overly emotional and unable to sit still. That is where there is foot on the gas. And you're like, you're really accelerating, you're angry, you're agitated, you're at all that. That's how people respond to distress. Then foot on the brake. Now, when it's foot on the brake, what happens is that someone withdraws, they're depressed, they enter into a flight stress mode, they're just there. Some of them shut down, pull away, space out, show very little energy or emotion. They're just there. So it's sort of like they've given up. Let me use that. They have withdrawn. They are depressed. That is when someone is really stressed. They withdraw. Some people will withdraw. Some people feel depressed. Some people will shut down. They will not be able to do anything. That is how some people respond. Then there are others who respond on foot on both. They put the foot on the gas, that is the accelerator. At the same time, they're putting the foot on the brake. And in this, there is a tense of freeze stress response. You become frozen under pressure and you cannot do anything. They are just frozen. They get paralyzed. But they're under a surface. They're extremely agitated, but they're just there. They're foot on both. So it's on the brake and it's on the gas, and they're just stuck. They don't know what to do else. That's how people respond to stress differently, depending on one person to another, and that is dependent on one person. So let me go on to the common causes of stress. When I talk about the common causes of stress, one of the things that really causes stress, there are many others, but this is just a brief or just examples of the common stress causes of stress. One is work. Now, this is dependent on the work. Like I was requested to talk about stress in our professional work. Some of us are work, some of us are students, some of us do different things. Depending on the work you do, the workplace can be very toxic and it can be causing a lot of stress on you. Or it could be that someone is experiencing harassment. It could be either sexual harassment or verbal harassment, whatever it is. And the thinking or the feel of every day waking up and you're going to this workplace just drains you and you feel a lot of stress. It could be long working hours. Some people work for very long hours, and this really is bound to cause a lot of stress on the people. Even the students, it could be that you have to read for a very long time and it's causing a lot of pressure, a lot of stress on you. Or sometimes in our workplaces, there are unreasonable demands, whereby a supervisor will ask you for the report today. Before the evening ends, he asks you for another thing. He asks you for many things, and so you end up feeling like you feel like I'll share this with actually Lillian, not Lillian, Sandra already has it, so you'll get it. So it could be like the unreasonable demands that are there. The demands at work are very unreasonable. If you're a student, you have unreasonable demands from the lecturers. This one expects you to attend, another one expects you to do the coursework, another one expects what. So these are unreasonable demands, but you're expected to deliver sometimes. So this causes a lot of stress. Then as who work in environments where there is time for appraisals, whenever it is time for appraisal, some of us enter into, we are stressed, literally. We are stressed like you don't know what to do. You don't know what to do. You don't know what to expect from your supervisor. And this really causes a lot of problems. Boring work. Sometimes it could be that the work bores you so much. You're so bored at work and you were like, what is this that is happening? Or job insecurities. Now, job insecurities causes a lot of stress to us. I'll share a scenario. For the last, I think, how many months? I think for like 3 months, we had a scenario as our organization. We are downsizing. So people were leaving, people were being laid off, and there was a lot of stress. I spoke to the health nurse and I'm like, how are people coping? Then he said, Patricia, you can't imagine that I put Panadols and Panadols get finished in a second. Why people are stressed? Everyone is taking tablets, and I think there were headaches, there were what, but people are taking a lot of whatever. So job insecurity also causes a lot of stress. Heavy workload. This could be the work you're doing and it's so heavy on you and you don't even know how to say no to certain things, and so it's stressing you. There's the examination period for the students, coursework deadlines for the students, delay in pay, especially if you're employed. Also, this causes a lot of stress. You could be working and there's no promotion for you and you've been in that position for so long and you feel overwhelmed. So that is all causes stress. Yeah. That is one thing. Then there could be financial issues. Financial issues as it ranges. It's not only from it can be in various places. It could be either you have a debt or multiple loans, bills to pay. For the students, tuition is coming. Your parents have not yet got money, and so you're under a lot of tension. But the Bible tells us in the book of Psalms 55:22, that give your burdens to the Lord, for he will take care of them. I always tell people that if I'm speaking to people who are Christians and believers, I want to believe some of us believe the word. If you believe the word, give your burdens to the Lord, because sometimes even worrying does not even add anything to us. It even becomes more and more and even stresses us the more. So that is financial issues. Then there could be relationship issues. It could be relationships between spouses. It could be relationships between a partner with partners. It could be relationships between children. Your children are giving you a lot of headache. And especially people who have teenagers, there's an age they reach and they don't want to listen to anyone. And it's interesting, my interactions being in a university setting, it's not even only about teenagers, but we have this generation that has cropped up that have an entitlement attitude. And if you're a parent, you'll get stressed with dealing with this person, okay, or this child. It could be in siblings, you're having fights as siblings. That really also causes a lot of stress. Or it could be infertility for those people who are married, they're failing to have children, and this is really causing a lot of problems. And you know, the other thing is that it's not only our immediate families, but also extended families, where you have issues to sort out as an extended family. That can cause a lot of problems. Co-workers, the people we work with, can also cause us problems. How we relate with them can cause us stress. How we relate with them, the challenges of relating with these co-workers can also be a big challenge. Next. So I want to share with us some few techniques or general techniques before I go on how to manage the stress. One of the things is that it's very important for you to identify the source of your stress. Sometimes it can be easy for you to identify it, but sometimes it can be very complicated to identify what is it that is causing this stress. Look at your habits, look at your excuses, okay? You need to know, you need to see, how do you really identify the problem you're dealing with? What is it that is causing this stress? Because if you don't identify what the source of your stress, you cannot be able to address it. Then you need to understand yourselves, or you need to know what is the cause of the stress. What is it that is causing this stress? Once you know the cause, then you're able to address it. And then understand yourself better. How do you react in the different situations? When you're stressed, how do you react? And you can tell that actually stress is setting in. Me, I can tell that stress is setting in when I feel like I'm overwhelmed and then I start craving, I want to eat junk, then I know really I'm stressed. Those are indications that I'm stressed, because normally I don't eat junk. But the moment I start craving junk, then I'm thinking about certain things and all that, then I know there is a problem right now. Then how do you behave when you're stressed? It's very important. You know yourself better than any other person. How do you behave when you're stressed? Some people might decide to withdraw. Some people might decide to cover themselves. Some people might decide to cry. Whatever it is, how do you behave when you're stressed? And that really helps you to know how to develop mechanisms of how to cope with the stress. Yes, next. So how do you cope with the stress? Basically, we cope with stress in different ways. All of us cope with stress in different ways, and it's dependent on really what is around us, okay? But one of the coping mechanisms that I want to encourage us is that we need to take care of ourselves. Taking care of yourselves will require you to know what diet you're eating. Eat healthy food. People tend, like I told you, that for me, when I'm stressed, I eat junk. Then when I know, I'm like, okay, I need to eat some vegetables. I need to eat some fruits. I need to eat something better. So take care of yourself, especially as a way to cope with the stress that is around you. Eat healthy. Get enough sleep. Some people, of course, fail to sleep very well when they're overwhelmed with the stress and all that. So take enough sleep. That is very, very important for you. Take care of your body. Exercise, even exercise is very important. So please don't keep a dormant body. If you're stressed, find something to do that is going to work out your body. Do some bit of exercise. If it needs to do sit-ups, it needs to do whatever it is, it needs you to skip the rope, it's going to help you to deal with this stress. Take care of your body. Sandra said about the breathing exercises. Breathing exercises are very, very important for us. Practice breathing exercises when your body is overwhelmed. Learn to calm yourself down. Take the deep breaths. Come up with some relaxation techniques. This could be deep breaths where you breathe in and breathe out. Breathe in, breathe out. Stretch or whatever it is, but find relaxation techniques that can work for you. What could work for me, it may not work for you. So it's very important for you to know what really works out for you very well. Unwind. I don't know how to explain it. Sandra's illustration was very good. The check of unwinding, of doing something that you enjoy. Do you enjoy to skip? Do you enjoy listening to music? Do you enjoy to watching movies? What is it that you enjoy? Do something that you enjoy. You know what you enjoy most. So it's you who knows yourself better, but do something to unwind. A friend of mine was telling me of a story a bit some time back that actually it was a gentleman. He was telling me, and for me, from this, I learn a lot. He was telling me that there is a time as a young person was undergoing a period of a breakup of a relationship. And so he realized that really he's going to watch movies, but he was not watching romantic movies because that would trigger other things. So what he decided to do, he decided to watch action movies. And his argument was that with action movies, it does not allow you to think about your problems. It is action. It is what you're seeing. People are fighting or they're kicking or whatever it is. So do something that you enjoy. You might be a person who enjoys listening to music. Listen to the music, okay? Do something that is going to help you unwind. As someone is saying in the chats, we go to a friend's place, do something, you know what you really like doing. For me, I love music. So when I feel I'm overwhelmed, I'll put on my music. I feel when I'm stressed, I'll put on my music. Yeah, and then I'll listen in. If it's possible, even I'll be dancing. And then I know where I'm releasing the stress, but also at the same time I'm exercising. So it's do something. Then the other thing, connect to your community of faith-based things. Connect with others, visiting your friends. Social support is very, very key. Some of us, when we are stressed, we tend to withdraw from the rest and decide to say, you know what, I'm not going to do anything. I'm just going to keep quiet. I'm just going to shut up. I'm going to do whatever it is, okay? So do something that you really enjoy. Then set limits. Learn to say no to some things in a more assertive ways, yet respectful. I was telling someone that some of us don't set limits for ourselves. Everything we want to be everywhere. We want to do everything we want to do. We can't refuse tasks. We can't do anything, but learn to set limits for yourself. Learn to say no. Even you could be a supervisor and they're giving you a lot of work. It's almost time to go. You're having a task. Can you maybe respectfully ask, sir, can I request that I first finish this task? I'll attend to this one. Give someone some hope, but also learn to set limits to yourself. If you don't set limits, we shall throw everything at you and then you'll fail to function. You'll feel even more overwhelmed, okay? Then the other thing that I always tell people is to set realistic goals. You know yourself better. Some of us set goals that are out of this world. You set goals and the goals are straining you. They're stressing you. Can you go back to the drawing board and set goals that are very realistic for you and know what is it that can work for me? What is it that cannot work for me? Okay. The next slide. Then the other thing, learn and practice mindfulness. How do you practice mindfulness? Practice mindfulness. Speak out, seek help. It's very important for you to seek help. Yeah. And then also there is an aspect of practicing self-positive talk. Express gratitude for things around you. What are the things around you? Express that gratitude and all that. Learn to speak out, learn to practice mindfulness and all that. That practicing and learning mindfulness is very important for you because it helps you to refocus and know what can I focus and work with your mind and like, okay, now let me practice, let me focus on this thing and ask and see what I can manage with this. But also when it's overwhelming and all that, seek for help. Help is there. Help is there. You can seek for help. Then practice positive, self-positive talk. Express gratitude for things around you. Some of us don't want even to practice those small things of positive talk. You can look at yourself and say, actually, I can manage. This too can pass. I will manage this. If you did the other thing, if I manage the other one, this can also pass. I know I'm empowered. I can do this. So practice positive talk. No one can give you the positive talk. You have to have the positive vibes within you to help you to really to manage this stress. Then as a last resort, and I say a last resort because we don't want it to reach this where someone is forced to take supplements. No, we can avoid it. And this is just basically a last resort, how you can manage with that. Okay. I don't know. Something tells me there is a slide that we skipped. I don't know whether there is a slide. I don't know. Let me go back. Go back a bit. Yes, this. I think we Sandra, it took me very fast. I don't know why I skipped this because I've just said yes. We skipped the signs. Let me go back to the signs because I knew I'd skipped something. Now, when we talk about the signs of stress, like we need to categorize them. Sorry that I'm now going back because I realized we missed this. I categorize the signs between physical, emotional, cognitive, and behavior. Now, when we talk about the physical signs, what are the physical signs we're talking about? We see physical signs of someone who is fatigued, someone who's there's fatigue. So what reason someone feel fatigued, they're tired and all that? Muscle pain, the whole body is paining. Chest pains can be physical signs. Sudden weight loss or weight gain, where someone is losing weight or is putting on weight and we don't know what is really happening. Constant headaches, people say migraines and all that and everything. Sometimes people are just stressed and are having these challenges. The constant headaches that are not going. The muscle aches, excessive sweating. Some people will just act, their body will just act up and they will be excessively sweating. And for the ladies, there may be changes in menstrual periods in women and all that. Then feeling sick, feeling dizzy. Some people actually even they decide to go and seek for medical help. They feel sick, but they're not sick. And that's why in Uganda, we shall go and tell people, I want to test for malaria. You are not actually sick. You're just stressed. And if you go back, that's why I said, identify what is it that is causing these problems. Then the other thing could be emotional signs. Now, under emotional signs, that's why you find people who are irritable. That for one reason or another, someone is feeling, they're very irritable. You don't know what is wrong with them. They're angry, they're worried, they're tense, they're anxious. If they have any mental challenge or mental problem, it's getting worse. For example, if someone has bipolar and they are stressed, even it triggers it even more, it becomes even more worse. Or they could be feeling depressed. They have lost interest in life. They are feeling overwhelmed. Then others actually don't. There is less socialization. They want to isolate. They isolate themselves. So once you see that you're having these emotional signs, please know that there is a problem. And then if it's cognitive signs, it could be in memory, where there is your memory, you've lost your memory. You don't remember certain things very well. You're struggling with remembering certain things. Or it could be loss of concentration, where you don't have concentration of certain things. You can't concentrate on something at all. Or it could be racing thoughts, where you have thoughts that are racing, your thoughts and focused thinking and all that. Then you know that there is really something that is boiling in your body and you're actually stressed. Then the behavioral signs that we see, Change in eating habits. For us who you eat healthy and for one reason you've started eating junk, you're feeling like you don't want even to eat or whatever, you're overeating and all that, then there is a problem changing. If there is a change, then you know yourself better. Then there could be restlessness, where someone is restless. They can't even, they're just there. You don't know, they can't rest. They're finding it difficult to rest. Or some of us, when we are stressed, we spend too much. For my brothers and sisters who go to the bar, that's when they will remember to buy alcohol for everyone around them. And then they spend the money and then remember later on, oh my God, I spent a lot of money today. Or even us ladies, some of us go into impulse shopping. You don't actually need that thing. Later on, you look at it and you say, but why did I buy this? You didn't want it, but you were just stressed. And because you were stressed, you just decided to just buy. So you spend too much. Other people withdraw from others. They don't want anyone around them. They just want to be by themselves. When you see that you're feeling that one, yet normally you are a sociable person, then you know there is a problem. It could be biting of nails, where people decide to bite nails. When you look at people who keep every time they're biting the nails, especially when they're under tension, then you know that they are stressed. Some people use drugs or decide to take too much alcohol as a way of coping with this stress, yet it's a sign that they are stressed. So they use it, they think it's a coping mechanism, but yet it's a very dangerous coping mechanism. So it brings more problems. Then there are sexual problems. Some people will withdraw from sexual activities, or they will want to overdo it by themselves. They will want to overdo it. Then you know that they are being, if you notice there is a change, if you're a married person or even if you have a partner, then you know there is a problem. Okay. Then withdrawing from others, I said it, and then sleeping too much or not sleeping at all. Some people, when they're stressed, they decide to sleep a lot. And then others who are not sleeping, others may fail to sleep. So it could be that when you see that there is this, that you're sleeping too much, yet you're having issues, then you know that you are stressed and therefore you need to find help. So like I mentioned, the coping mechanisms are very, very important, but there is no one size fits all. What would work for me as a way of coping may not work for you. But bottom line is, take care of yourself. It's very important that you take care of yourself. It's very important that you take care of your body. Unwind, do something that you really like, connect to the community, say something positive, set realistic goals, learn to say no, and and speak out. Basically, speak out. Help is there. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Oh, thank you so much, Patricia. That was amazing. And I'm going to stop sharing my screen so that we can have an opportunity for questions, comments. We have about 17 minutes to go. So any questions from the audience? I can start with a question. Can you speak more about what mindfulness is and how we can practice it? Because I hear a lot about mindfulness, but I just want to understand better. What does it actually mean?
Okay. Practicing mindfulness, what it means is that, for example, you can decide deliberately, you have power to control your minds and your thoughts and all that. You can decide that if there is an issue that is that is bothering you, you divert your mind and focus on the good thing. And deliberately think about that good thing, what it is, how it makes you feel, and all that. So you're very conscious of what you're putting into, or what you're thinking. So you find a way of how you can change your negative thoughts, but positive, and focus on the positive thing, and focus and think about it. It could be that I decide that I'm going to practice mindfulness, maybe for every day, like for 5 minutes. I sit in my house, in my corner of the bedroom or down, and then I focus on one thing and think through it and know, okay, now, even if it's an issue concerns, okay, now that is issue, I cannot change it, but what can I do to get better? Basically, you're speaking to yourself, but you're practicing that aspect. You're taking charge of your thoughts and directing them to something that is more constructive, or something that can help you to cope. So that's what it means. Thank you.
Thank you for that explanation. Does anyone have any questions that they would like to ask Patricia? Or anyone identify with some of the issues she has raised? Are you experiencing stress? Have you identified the cause of your stress or something you could do to deal with it? If you'd like to say something, you can raise your hand or you can put your question in the chat. Any questions? How many of us experience stress? If you do, raise your hand. Can you share with us some of the strategies you use to manage stress? If any, or if you've learned something new that you're going to take away, you can also speak to that. I can see Ashanti. Ashanti, did you want to say something?
Yes, please. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Yes, I'm grateful and great thanks to you, Dr. Patricia. It has been a great pleasure for all of us here and me particularly. I've been expressing, facing stress many times, and I think stress is one thing that I don't know, but it's part of life, and it also calls upon every individual to identify how they react and how it comes to them so that they're able to cope up with that. Me particularly, realized a few of my weaknesses. One is isolation, and I do talk less. That is when I sleep a lot. I become lazy, and performance is very poor. And most of the things I did to come out of such situation mostly were self-positive talk, which helped me a lot, and the mindfulness of being open and accepting situations sometimes to be able to come out of that situation. And to be positive, and also with emotional intelligence. Because one thing I learned is that we live around environments with the different people, different personalities, with different ways of creating happiness to themselves, and some have different purposes. So it is to identify the people we live with and how they behave, whether it is their way, and how to control ourselves from going into such a situation that may lead to stress in our lives, and also continue with the work that we're supposed to do. So specifically, that has helped me a lot to be able to do my duties and perform in such environments where there is a lot of mind games. Yes, that is what I can share. Thank you so much.
Thank you for sharing your thoughts with us, Ashanti. I do agree that self-awareness is really key in very many aspects of life, even just in managing stress, just paying attention to your emotions and where the stress is coming from, and knowing how to get the support that you need. I see, Kenneth, you also had a hand up. Do you want to share something about managing stress?
Yes, thank you very much. And thank you very much to Dr. Patricia as well. This has been a very enlightening presentation, and I have also been able to learn a lot about stress. I think it was important for me just that you Oh, okay. Yes, you're not. My apologies. But when you get the PhD, I'm just manifesting for you. Um, I I think it was important just when you began by acknowledging that stress is it's a part of everyday life, and I'm a lawyer, so a lot of times we have the stress that we have to deal with as lawyers is sort of other people's stress as well. So someone has a problem, something is really stressing them out, and you have to find a legal solution for them. That also sometimes clients can bring problems to you when there's very little time. Someone wants you to file a defense for them, but the deadline is tomorrow. You know, we have very strict limits for time. So at the end of the day, that becomes stressful for you because you have to do research and put in a proper defense within, you know, that one day. So that probably means even that night, maybe you might have to sleep very little. But in terms of managing, the things that have worked for me are just trying to find time to do the things that I really like to do. I enjoy playing basketball, so I try and find time at least twice or thrice a week to meet my friends, and we have a good game. And you know, when you're done with that, you feel like you've had a reset, and everything is, you know, you can focus again, and all that is gone. And I think I also appreciated you talking about us being able to realize the triggers within ourselves, because at the end of the day, sometimes you don't even realize that you're stressed. You just find that, the whole of this week I've been having headaches and I can't explain. You know, I've been drinking a lot of water, maybe I don't think I'm sick, but I've just been having a lot of headaches. So at the end of the day, that in itself is a trigger to you that, okay, you might need to relax and take things slow, or maybe in the morning even, because I have a job I really like, so it's usually not a problem for me to wake up in the morning. But sometimes you find
Kenneth, did we lose you? We lost your sound, Kenneth. So we lost your sound. I see in the chat there's a comment that says from Patrick, one of the coping mechanisms. Yeah, Kenneth, you're coming broken.
It's, you know, getting to save. So very much.
Oh, now we lost him. So Patrick put a comment that says one of the coping mechanisms to stress is to associate with people who can help you out whenever sharing it with others. However, sharing it with others at times can expose one to stigma. What can one do under such situation where the person you've shared with has broken your confidentiality? I don't know, Patricia, if you can quickly answer that question.
Thank you. That's a very interesting question. Where someone you expose, I mean, like I mentioned, that you have to find people you can share, but I mean, also it takes us back to know who are the people you're talking to, who are your confidants that you can talk to. And I might actually not even need to tell the person what is stressing me, but I might just, I feel stressed, but it's okay. But just being around a person, or you may feel you want to share with someone, but find that person who's very, very close to you. Because I mean, there are people who are going to break people's confidentiality, and you become, like you said, you become the talk of the village, that this is what is stressing so and so and all that, and this is what the person is going through, which again might be a big challenge for someone to handle, especially when your issues have been released and they're out there in the communities. So it's find someone who is your confidant. If you know that it's speaking to a friend is difficult, there are church leaders, there are people you can speak to who are more, who might keep confidentiality, like churches, or it could be, I know when you say professional counselors, that is also money coming in. It could be someone else, but find someone who you know that you can trust with your information, and it's not someone who's going to break your confidentiality. What happens, how it's done, what happens if it happens, if it has happened to you, is that you've learned from your lessons, and you know who next to share with your challenges if you need to speak to someone about what is stressing you. But find something. But for me, even what I know, sometimes I may not even need to tell my friends that this is stressing me, but I keep around positive people. I keep around positive vibes. I was telling someone that sometimes when I'm stressed, I want to see people who are happy and smiling smiling. I'll walk into a restaurant, order for a cup of tea of 10,000 as we're in Uganda, and I sip on my tea. And while looking around, people were happy, young people were dressed so nicely. And for me, it's really working. For me, it's a bit of my therapy. So it depends on how you're going to handle it. And you don't need to tell someone that actually this is what, but might just want to keep around positive people with positive vibes, or who are laughing out loud, or who are smiling, or whatever it is, happy people. And in a way, it helps you to have to get a refill, so to speak. That's how I could speak about it. But I see Sophie has a hand up. So
Yes, thank you so much. And just what Patrick had shared, it did happen to me. I actually went to share something with a person I mostly share with, and but before I was told that at work, most times co-workers are not people that we should trust. So I decided to still go in and share with this person, and this person bluntly told me that sometimes he actually gave it to me in a story form, that there was a bird that was flying sometime, and during winter came, the bird dropped down, got frozen, and there was a cow that was passing by, dumped cow dung on it, and then it made noise, and unfortunately there was a cat that went and ate the bird. So in that story I analyzed, meaning sometimes when we approach the wrong people, it would be also bad on our side. So that tells us we either have to find someone to trust, or it also makes us get fear of that there's no one we could trust, and identify ways of how to cope with our stress. And yeah, I also do have that character of walking out in a place, getting out of the workplace somewhere, and getting myself a drink somewhere and thinking it out through, or creating some place that is a bit relaxing, something like that, to let out whatever I'm going through. But it is a bit difficult. No, we have to identify the strengths within us. Yes.
Thank you for
yes,
sharing. So Patricia, did you have a response to that? I know that you have to leave in a few minutes.
No. I think she has made it very clear. I think it's finding strength within us, but also knowing who to, how can I say, who to identify, whom we can share with. Not everyone is willing to speak to us. For me, actually, I've learned also in my personal life and being a believer that I first speak to God before I speak to the world. Because sometimes you can speak to the world and things end up, I first speak to God. And also the other thing that, like I told you, that don't give up the habit of meeting together. If you're a Christian, keep around believers. Otherwise, if you run away from believers, even it becomes more, the enemy will get you there and even squeeze you more. So keep around people of the same, who believe the same, who have the same values, like who believe in the same things. And so in there, you'll be able to get your strength and be encouraged by the brethren. So I think that's it from me. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So any final thoughts, any final comments from anybody before we close? We have just a minute. And as we close, I just want to thank our facilitator today, Patricia Bako, for taking the time for sharing with us that knowledge, that very rich information about stress, what stress is, what's good stress, what's bad stress, how to identify causes of stress, what are the symptoms of stress, and also giving us strategies on how to manage the stress in our daily lives. And as we mark Mental Health Awareness Month this month, let's all be mindful that our health is not just physical, it's also our mental health. We want to be healthy both mentally and physically, so paying attention to our mental health, being aware about our emotions, being aware about the environment around us and how it affects us, and also just taking care of ourselves and taking care of our bodies and knowing that you are very valuable, you are very important, and it's important that you be healthy. And I know a lot of us are always helping others, but you need to be healthy in order to be able to help others as well. So self-care is important, you are important, your health is important, your mental health is equally important. So as we create awareness around mental health this month, as individuals, let's be responsible for our mental health and the mental health of the people around us. So thank you everybody for joining today, and we are going to end this webinar. We hope to see you next time. Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.